Good morning, everyone. This is Sean, and this is Sean for Help. Sorry I missed out yesterday. I'm trying to get a video out. I'm suffering with gout, so it is a little bit of a difficult situation, but as you can see my demeanor, I'm pretty much going to be okay, I think. I'm keeping my foot kind of level so I don't have to move it too much. It's a fairly painful thing. But today what we're going to talk about is the first of a two-part situation on how to set your thoughts aside during meditation. The first thing you have to understand is that thoughts are going to come up regardless of whether you want them or not. There's no way to get around this problem except to accept it and to then be very grateful that they come up, because this is your subconscious actually attempting to give you things that you've asked for, because we are creators in this universe. As you think it, so it becomes. A good way of looking at this, if you're Christian, is the lesson of the withered fig tree. It talks about it very clearly if you just pay attention. Ask, believe, receive, and be grateful for it. The problem is that when you're meditating, you're trying to set aside all thoughts so that you can observe things rather than being inundated with everything that's coming at you. These are where your judgments, your labels, all the descriptors that you have in life that come up. These are the things that you don't want to have in the way, but they do because of a natural process of your subconscious. So you have to make friends with yourself, as I said in the various first portions of the video, various ways, I should say, that you need to understand that do happen. It's okay. And thoughts are things that can create more energy in your life to make things work in a certain way. If you've ever thought about something and gone, you know what, I really want this. I want to go do this, and I want to make these things happen, and then you go do them. And then all of a sudden, all these other things come in together with it. Well, there's a reason for that, and that's because of the fact that thoughts are things. But that doesn't mean, and this is the part I want you to pay attention to mostly, is you don't have to accept or believe every thought that as it happens. And this is a good way of looking at it, that I don't have to believe every thought. Who said you had to? You said you had to believe every thought at that point. Or you had to believe in this thought, or you had to believe in that thought. A good way of thinking about this, too, is that, okay, so thoughts come into your head. You're watching a horror movie, and you would think about how you would run this way or that way. Well, you're not doing it because you're not in the movie, but you had these thoughts, and it's just a movie. So who said you had to act on those thoughts? Because, well, if you did, it'd probably be pretty ridiculous and silly. The same thing happens with all the other thoughts that come up as you're doing meditation. They're being delivered here. All of a sudden, your favorite song comes up in your head. Know those really well. I have a lot of good music that comes up in my head, but I have to gently set them aside and focus on just being where I am at by paying attention. That's it. Again, as I said before, you're just paying attention. As things come up, gently set them aside. Have a childlike wonderment about it. But you don't have to do anything with it. Again, thoughts, you don't have to do anything with it. You can just watch them and see how they came up, and then gently set them aside. And by gently setting them aside, I'm meaning, like, okay, that this thought came up, I'm having this argument with a friend of mine, and this is something that's still sticking in my head, and I decided to meditate to try and calm myself down. Okay, great example. So the thoughts are coming up, and you're having this. Just accept that it happened. Who said you had to do anything for it right now? Who said you had to do anything with it at all? You can just let it lie and just be as it is until it's time to deal with it. You don't have to keep chewing on something. And I'm guilty of that myself. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here if I was able to say that I got past all of my things. I'd pretty much moved on. I'm pretty certain of that. So I'm still here learning things myself, but what I've learned I'm trying to share with you, and that these things are that important. If this comes up this way, you're going to find that this is what your thought patterns will be. You'll think about an argument you just had, and you won't let go of it. You're trying to meditate to calm yourself down. Use the practice in the previous video I had, where you put your hands together, or however you can sit. Again, some people are amputees and they don't have hands. Crossing the legs, allowing your feet. It's just feeling and not paying attention to anything else. If anything, it's a great way of thinking this, that I'm distracting you from your thoughts. That's actually part of the process of this. You're distracting yourself enough to focus on only one thing. So that way you can just be able to pay attention. But if these thoughts come up, setting them aside is simple as, okay, it's a thought. Thank you. And then go right back to what you were doing. Very gentle with yourself. You do not need to shove it out of the way. Get out of my head. That is the wrong answer immediately. I know very well on that one from all the times I have failed in my meditations because I kept fighting with myself and fighting with myself. It came up. Okay. All right. Thank you. At least I know my subconscious is trying to do for me. The universe is conspiring with you. If you're Christian, God is always conspiring for you. Even the hard lessons that you're dealing with that might be difficult to get past. You got some problems in your life that you're just having to deal with, and it's difficult. You could be losing a house. You could have going through divorce. You could have all these crazy things. Very hard, and I pray they never happen to you. I pray that if you're going through it right now, that you get through it quickly and easy. I'm praying that you actually have, a wonderful, wonderful life, a life that you would hope that would be best for you and your children if you have it. Fur babies are accepted. I know we have some. I would say that if you're going to push them aside harshly like that, you're going to see them revisit you even more and more. Because what you do want and what you don't want, regardless of what it is, you get. And I should know very well I have focused on a lot of things I didn't want, and I got them. So if you focus on your thoughts and just let them come up, okay, it was a thought. All right, thank you very much. And gently set it aside. Just let it fall from you to go back to focusing on what you were doing. But don't be forceful. Gentle is a big deal. Now, if a guy's trying to tell you to be gentle, that should say something. Because a lot of people would say that usually a guy, especially a veteran like myself, would be telling you to get in there and soldier up and deal with and what. No, you have to be gentle with yourself because you've already been so critical in your life that all these thoughts that are controlling you, that you're sitting here listening to me to try and help you get past, it's a big deal. You've already beat yourself up. Why do you want to keep doing it? These thoughts are so strong in your head. You've got to learn how to just gently set them aside. Be very gentle with yourself. You are trying to make friends with yourself. There's no war here. You don't have to fight. Who said you had to? I mean, really, that's the question. Who said you had to do these things this way? And even if you don't want to listen to me and just basically think I'm crazy, well, that's fine. You can. I'm not telling you you have to do this, but I'm telling you that it works best in some cases. Maybe there's a different way that you could do this. But in this case, I want you to understand what thoughts are doing in your mind and how to set them aside just gently. This is one method. There are others that I'm going to be talking about later that you can do, different ways to distract if you're just caught up. But for right now, this is just the beginning of what thoughts are and how to gently set them aside. The second video that's in the, this is a two-part. The second video that I'll be doing for later, I'll see if I can do it today. If not, it will definitely be for tomorrow, will be to actually go through the practice, put in some good examples, where they're at, what you're doing with it. I'll even let you hear my thoughts. I will be very candid about it and let you see what I'm doing as I'm going through just sitting here. And I will have my eyes closed and I will talk you through it so you can see what I'm doing. That way it's a direct correlation to everything of what I'm saying now. But you've got to understand that these thoughts are normal. There's nothing wrong with having thoughts. You can have any thought you want, but it's how you act on them. This is where, again, getting your self-power back, getting the ability to make friends with yourself is so real. You can be an amazing, wonderful thing to walk through the world, or you can be absolutely tormented and through suffering. And that part I don't want to see happen. I want you to see the former, not this last part. I would rather see you be just a force of nature that they see you walk around and you're like, they look at you as like, well, how are you doing what you're doing? And the simple answer is that, well, I just finally made friends with myself. So thoughts are things. You have to think about it that way. Sounds like my son's coming out here. Thoughts are things. You have to think about them as that. So as they come up, they will have energy if you put focus on them. Just gently set them aside. Then go back to what you were doing. That doesn't mean they're going to disappear. That doesn't mean that things are going to go away. And if it's critical and you got to deal with it, if the house is on fire, get out. Let's be real. But if it's something that's like an argument with someone and you need to take a moment, this is when you should just gently set that aside. Even every time it comes up, just keep doing it. Broken record, that thing. Thank you very much. I'll deal with you in a moment. And go back to what you're doing. Focus on the meditation. If you have to, focus on your breathing. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Nice and slow. Very gentle. And the slower, the better. But don't force it. Do it as a natural feel. How does it feel when it's going in? How does it feel when it's going out? That way you're focusing on something other than what's carrying the frustration, anger, and you gotta imagine, the angrier and more stressed you become, the more cortisol you're putting through your body, and that's not a healthy thing by any means. Just try to focus on just being where you are and just being you. Nothing else matters at that moment. It's a very important thing to just be calm and that thoughts happen. And there's nothing wrong with it. You can think the craziest stuff. And a lot of people do, generally. But for right now, just know that you don't have to sit there and carry those. You don't have to sit there and believe every thought you have. You don't have to let them have focus. You don't have to consent to have them control. And that's what you're doing when you let it get crazy and out of control. You're focusing and consenting that this is going to control you. Just gently set it aside. Say, I'll deal with you in a bit. It's okay. We're all right. Yes, but this whole thing's crazy and out of control, and oh my God, you're arguing with him and her, and this is going on over here, and the whole thing's gone out of hand. That's right. But I'll be back. It's okay. Nothing's going to happen here. We took this moment to be by ourselves. I'll get to you. It's okay. I got you. And then just make that moment special for you. And it could be anywhere. You could be on a bus. Loud, noisy, rattly, bumpy. But you can be in your own space. You can be you. You don't have to be anything else. Let's just take that moment to kind of review this by watching the video over again if you have to. Otherwise, just remember, thoughts are things. They will come up naturally. You don't have to be violent to set them aside. You can be very gentle, especially with yourself. Setting them aside and going back to a gentle meditation. Everything of my voice is also pretty much about how that would be. I meditated before I did this video. It was just a quick 5-minute thing just to make myself very clear in what I was going to be doing. Why I was doing it is pretty apparent. But it's important because I don't care about anything but if you're okay. That's the big deal here. I gain nothing from this other than making sure you're happy. And that's what I want. By teaching you these things, I'm hoping you find happiness. Peace specifically, because that's the ultimate happiness right there. Contentment, something that can no longer be taken, because once you're content and you're at peace, who can take that from you? Especially if you're in control of your own thoughts. No matter what goes on, no matter who says what. This is why I say many people could try and be offensive to me, and I look at it as, okay, well, fantastic. You can say this, that, and you can tell me I'm anything but a child of God, and okay, that's fantastic. There's a couple other words you can possibly use if you're really kind of hung up on it. I can give you a list if that's really what you need. But that's having personal control over yourself. And that's what I want you to have. So understand your thoughts are just coming up from a natural way of who you are. Just set them aside for a moment. You don't have to do anything. You can be very, very much at peace. For right now, I'm just going to say we're going to wait for the next part to continue on for everything that I've got planned for this next section. If you like this video, hit like. If you want to hear more, hit subscribe. Smack that notification bell. Hopefully they still work. I know that YouTube occasionally has them go a little crazy. And stick around. If you want, share this video out with a few friends. Let them see that there's something that maybe they might be wanting to catch up on to see what's really going on. There's plenty of material out there that discusses the same thing that I'm talking about right now. You can find it out there. It's not very hard. You can Google it. I'm just basically discussing it right now. I already know I'm not the end-all, be-all thing. But I hope that you'd stick around to see what I have to say. That way I can share my viewpoint on it. And see what your comments are. Please comment down below. That way I can see what you got going on. Other than that, have a great day. For those who don't believe in God, love and light. For those who do, God bless you. For those who have other faiths, namaste. And we'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.